This is the Preparedness Awareness podcast with the Vineyard Chicks. We've been living off-grid on summers since we were little, and we have a lot of years of experience with living off-grid and homesteading and prepping. And now we're sharing our story with you.
And having lots of fun on the way.
Vineyard Chicks, music, homesteading, and more.
Actually, you're just a fake. Oh my god. Ow, don't punch me.
Oh my god, you're supposed to punch me.
Oh, I'm done. Welcome to the Preparedness Awareness podcast with the Vineyard Chicks.
And today's topic is going to be Dexter cattle.
And why they're better than bacon. We're going to be going over why we don't raise pigs anymore, and so where we find inspiration. And we're also going to go over some Vineyard Chicks updates, so stay tuned for that.
Do I get to punch you
It
now?
hurts. No. No. Stop. I'm in danger. Our inspirational quote for this week is from CCM Magazine. Shout out to Noah for teaching us that if God tells you to build, you better build, even if those around you want to talk and don't understand. Take courage. Noah was clearly a prepper.
But did he have a walking stick?
We will discuss that next week.
If Noah had a walking staff,
No, your walking stick.
we'll talk about Noah too.
Tying back into our title, we wanted to call this a vlog podcast thing, Preparedness Awareness. And it doesn't exactly tie in if we just talk about our animals for a half hour. So I wanted to be clear that this applies to prepping too, because the meat that we grow and the reason we raise animals is so that we're less reliant on the economy and the grocery store.
Right.
Because now that we actually grow our own food, we can tell there's a difference. Like if you look at hamburgers, if we take ground beef and we make hamburgers, what we can make with the beef that we get from around here, or I've even tried pork hamburgers just
Because
I mean, it's a hamburger, why not? So
it tastes better, and it
tastes
doesn't
better,
have
and
this,
it's just
like
cooking it.
if you cook the meat from the store, it has these like weird colors, and it's so greasy. Meat that we get from around here that we know where it's from, it doesn't have that much grease, and then it has like these. It reflects light in these different colors.
like
and,
what else is
like,
going
is
on
there
in
like
there?
oil from like car oil like that you see in the ground when it rains? Like,
Like,
what is that? So as far as pigs go, pigs are amazing and everyone likes pork. Well, a lot of people like pork, specifically bacon. But we had some issues with our pigs. So for some backstory to this, how many years did we have pigs? We grew pigs? We raised pigs for 3 years. And we've had, I think, 5 different breeds. We had Hampshire, Yorkshire, blue butts, which are her favorite because
Blue butts.
she likes saying butt. And we had the Durocs, and then we had the Gloucestershire sauce.
Gloucestershire.
It's harder to say than Worcestershire sauce.
Shush.
And that's saying something.
Shush.
So we liked how friendly some of our pigs were, specifically the Worcestershire sauce pigs. They were very friendly, and one of them would even let me give him a belly rub if I pet him long enough. And so we liked how nice they were. And if you think about it, they were pretty easy to take care of. You just throw in some food, throw in some water. But on the other side of that, they were super difficult to take care of. They made big messes with the mud and the water. They would break out of the fences. They would dig up the land and create huge mounds and huger holes.
They were almost like living bulldozers.
Right.
It would take them a minute, but they would get out and they would like cause a lot of problems.
Right. Like, some of the things those pigs did, like last year, we had almost all male goats born, except for this one little one who was black and white. She was really cute. And I think on the 3rd day she was alive, the pigs got out, and yep, they trampled her. So we lost the only female goat that was born that year and had all boys. It's okay, KK. And another thing they did was Dad's duck, and that kind of sealed it for us, so we don't want to have pigs anymore.
Dad's duck is legendary.
Oh, he was so sweet. So there was this one Muscovy egg that got left behind and hatched after the rest of the eggs. So Dad brought him into the greenhouse and raised him, and he ate food, and after a while he got big enough to go outside. So Dad started taking the duck out every day to let him try and get into the flock with the other Muscovies. And after trial and error of the other Muscovies running away from him and not wanting to be with him, the ducks finally accepted that little guy. And just before Dad was able to get out the last word in the sentence, they accepted him.
He didn't even get
to the accepted part when one of the pigs come in and ate him.
He was gone.
Gone. He didn't even just like take a bite. He just swallowed it whole. It was morbid.
Bacon
So
dilemma.
So that's kind of an issue with the pigs. Some questions that we've had about our pigs include:
who raised the pigs?
That was mostly me. Even though they were kept in the barnyard area, I went out there to give them their food because I seem to be better at handling the pigs.
They're
very
very
messy.
few animals who like me.
A lot of the time, the pigs will move their faces around or jump up and down and spray their mud everywhere, and KK couldn't really handle that. So I took care of the pigs. Other
What
questions?
was your setup?
So I did a video on this a couple years ago.
We should probably have this pop up, right?
Right, yeah. We can pop that in later. We had a fenced-in area with cattle panel that we put galvanized sheet metal in front of so that they couldn't really see outside and want to get out. And then we also had a pallet house with a tarp over it for their home, and we put some straw in there to help absorb the water so it wouldn't get too muddy and help keep them warm.
That worked.
Yeah, the straw needs to be replenished often, or else it gets super muddy like ours did, and you can't even walk around in there without losing your boots.
I think the advantage that pigs have is that the way their feet are built, they don't have, like, feet.
Right.
So they can just, like, keep moving.
Right, they don't have these big things that come out and get stuck in the mud.
Because if you ever tried to walk in, like, shallow mud and tiptoes, it's a lot easier than, like, on your feet.
Right, because your feet will get stuck under the mud. That makes sense.
Okay. What kind of pigs did you raise?
I think I already went over all of the breeds. Do you want to go tell them all?
Worcestershire, soy sauce, cinnamon. I think we already touched on this, but what was I gonna say? What did we really like about raising pigs?
They were really good for our whole permaculture goal. They would till up the land, and we would use electric wire to fence them into areas, and they would till up the land, get rid of roots and things that the goats couldn't get rid of, which goats did wonderfully on, but they can't get underground. So the pigs would get in there with their noses and till up the land, and while
they were like natural rototillers.
Right, and while it did make a lot of mounds that we'd have to fill back in, they did very well with taking down the roots that were under the ground. So
then,
that was very
nice. The issues
nice.
happened where they started trying to, like, short out the fence.
Right, they would get dirt up on the fence, and that would short the wires, and they'd get out. And there was a funny story about this. After I fenced in the whole area and turned on the electricity, I was just like, I don't want to touch it, because I need to make sure that it's on, but I don't really want to get tased. And then Mary, the little baby goat that we raised inside, got curious and walked over and put it in. She bit it. She put it in her mouth, and she's like, ah! And ran away. And I wish I got it on film. I was laughing so hard. I was like, well, at least I know it works. Thanks, Mary. I felt so bad for her.
What likes and dislikes?
We just went over the likes. We liked how they helped with the permaculture.
Also,
dislikes, they were very messy.
Hold on. Like, still along the lines of likes them.
Right.
They had, like, it was the best bacon, best ham we'd ever had.
Oh, it was so flavorful. It's nothing like what you get at the store. Our meat was so good, and it was so tough. It wasn't fatty at all. They were just, like, so lean because they, like, they worked out. They, like, tilled up the ground. And I'm sure people did that. They'd be super tough, right? Yeah, no.
Humans would not, like, eat dirt.
Well, no, but just, like, working at it.
No.
So, what are the replacements you have?
No. Dislikes.
We're still on dislikes. So as far as the pigs go, there were a lot of things that we didn't like about them. And I mentioned how messy they were, thrown around the dirt, and then there was whole Dad's duck problem. And then the butcher. We don't actually know what's going on. One time it was reasonable, so Michigan has horrible weather. Anyone who lives in Michigan knows what I'm talking about. It's winter like
a good while.
So you could say, winter has begun, it started snowing, and then you get a day that's like 60, 70 degrees.
You have no snow.
It's beautiful out, and then winter hits again. And then there's a third winter. It's terrible. And so
Our
we
worst
have
months
to be...
are like December through February.
Right. We had that whole snow issue recently where it's like up to my knees, up to her thighs. It was super deep because she's short.
Right here on me.
No, it's
But
not
like
that
it's
bad.
it's like early January and
Right.
it's really nice out. Like there's no
And
snow.
then like right now there's no snow. It's sunny. It's pretty nice outside.
And then come
Blue sky.
February, it's
Blue
gonna be
sky.
like some dead, snowy wasteland.
White,
'Cause it's
right.
just gross.
Right. So winter has mood swings in Michigan. It's worse than a teenager. I would know. So we have to make sure that we get pigs at the right time. So we have to get them by March at a minimum so that we can get them after the snow. And
Which
then
is
we
kinda
have
hard to do.
Right. And then we have to get them butchered before
November. We usually try to use early November as a
Right.
butcher date because deer season happens
Right.
and then you can't get them butchered because they try to dedicate their time to the people who just drive up and is like, hey, got a deer.
Right. Like, hey, I accidentally ran over a deer. Can you butcher it for me? Thanks.
No, that's not how that works.
Oh. I don't know how deer works. I haven't shot any deers before.
Well,
But something
ran
like
it
that.
over.
Well, I can't drive. That's your thing.
Hey, I ran it up.
But so we have a very limited amount of time that we have our pigs, so they only get so much food in their lifetime. They don't get to like the full pig size most of the time. So
You
the
just
first
like
year,
de-voiced that.
yeah, the first year we had pigs, we got the most beautiful bacon, the most beautiful ham. It was so wonderful, and I think that's because we let them into Bunky's garden to till up the land, and they got so much food, and they were so big and super
And then
lean.
like all of the stuff we grew out of the ground the next year was just so gross.
Right.
We could, like,
Mom and Dad got
That's
sick
it.
because of the chard that was grown in the ground, and we think it's because of the pig poop that was in there, so we don't do that anymore. The pigs don't go in the garden.
We don't
That's
have,
just that.
we don't.
It's perfectly
But-
good chard too.
After that, the other 2 years that we got pigs, our butcher said that they were too small to get any bacon from. And the first year that happened to us, that was understandable. They were a little bit small.
But this
But
last year,
the last time we had pigs, they were pretty big. So we don't know if they were just like not big enough, not tough enough, or if our butchers are hiding all of our bacon, stealing it from us.
dork.
What? They could be.
You're a conspiracy theorist.
Yes, I am.
It is love.
They're stealing it.
You're just possessive.
So we just decided that maybe pigs isn't the best idea for us because we haven't had the greatest luck keeping them in. Not to mention keeping them from killing our other animals.
So
my
what
poor
was your
goat.
replacements?
Before we get into that, here is a message from our sponsors. And since we don't have any sponsors, here's a commercial from us.
Hi.
Preparedness Awareness with Vineyard Chicks is available both as a podcast and as a video cast, and we'll leave links in the description for both. Speaking of videos, our music videos are moving to Vineyard Chicks Studios on YouTube, so we can make our prepping and homesteading videos easier to find on our Vineyard Chicks channel. And you can also find us live playing music on Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube and coming soon on Facebook too. See description for details or visit us at vineyardchicks.com. And if you enjoy our content, please like, follow, subscribe, notify, and share with your friends. Thank you, and now for the second part of Better Than Bacon.
We also wanted to talk about why we stopped pigs. Also has to do with what we consume. Because for those of you who don't know, a primary consumer is like grass. It gets its food from the sun, it performs photosynthesis, and that's about how it gets its energy. A secondary consumer is purely herbivores in that class. They eat the grass, and they get about 10% of the grass's entire lifetime of energy. But it picks up everything else that it has, like all of its toxins, like heavy metals from the ground.
Chemtrails.
Chemtrails.
Possibly.
Definitely.
Allegedly.
Definitely.
Inevitably.
Perfectly understandable.
All of the things like pesticides and things nowadays that didn't used to be in the ground are now in the grass, and then your secondary consumers consume that, and toxins don't actually leave the body. With a lot of mammals, it gets concentrated in the liver. You can see this in other animals too, but it gets concentrated. It doesn't leave the body. So then when tertiary consumers come in, or in this case pigs, which are omnivores and are a bit of both secondary and tertiary.
Tertiary are animals that eat the secondary, like lions.
But when you get to those, you get animals that are eating other animals, which ate the toxins from the grass. So these animals already have a concentrated amount of toxins, but every time they eat an animal, they get about 10% of that energy and all of the toxins. And this was actually a crisis for eagles way back in like the 80s or so, because they were starting to use this toxin that was infecting a lot of people, and the bald eagle population went crazy down because they were eating these animals like mice and whatnot that were already infected with this, and they had all of this toxins because you have to eat a bunch of mice to live. They're big birds.
You only get 10% of the energy from a mouse when you eat it, or when the eagle eats it. Not that you eat mice, just when the eagle eats it.
But they get all of those toxins, and this was actually a huge problem for bald eagles. I think it's DDT, but they actually banned it because it was affecting the bald eagle population so badly. And this is the reason why we didn't want to do pigs after a while, because they eat
anything.
They eat anything. So they have all of these toxins that secondary consumers wouldn't have had as much of because they just got it from the grass.
Right.
Which is the reason we transitioned to beef, which is our next topic.
Well, thank you, Thought Bubble from Crash Course.
Also, I wanted to bring in the Noah factor again, because when Noah was on the ark, he brought 2 of every kind of animal, but he brought 7 kosher animals. Now, how is it that this pre-flood person who knew nothing about primary, secondary, and tertiary consumers that we know of today, how is it that he knew that these secondary consumers were so much better for the body than non-kosher animals? And I say it non-kosher because there is a Jewish law where you only eat kosher meat because it's cleaner meat. And I get that not everyone follows that, but there really is something to that. The secondary consumers are more healthy than omnivores and carnivores who have to take that toxin with them.
And the crazy part is that Noah was pre-kosher laws. He didn't have those laws in place where he can't eat the non-kosher animals.
Yeah, kosher laws didn't even exist at the time. So there really is something to that, and it's always kind of fun to think about because, like, well, how did he know?
Right. So, Noah was a prepper, and he had a walking staff.
Why can't you use this with your hand?
Now, what did we replace our pigs with?
Cows.
What breed of cows?
Dexter cows.
What breed of Dexter?
So, we got 2 Dexter cows. We bought 2 Dexter cows, Maud and Hestia. They're black and they're both female. And when we got them, we were told that Maud was pregnant. Maud is Hestia's mother. Now, for a while, we were starting to wonder, is Maud really pregnant? Because she didn't look pregnant. She wasn't putting on any pregnant belly.
They're not heavy baby carriers.
Right. They don't look that big when they're getting it. And it's tricked us twice now where we didn't expect the baby and it came.
Well, because here's the thing. They do show that they're pregnant, but not as much as a Nigerian dwarf goat because they're small and they also have like 4 to 6 babies at once.
Right.
So it's very obvious on a goat, and that's what we're used to seeing.
And it's not so obvious on a cow when they get pregnant. You can't really tell that there's that baby in there.
Because there's only one.
So Maud gave birth to Taurus, how many years ago?
1 or
3?
2?
About 2
2 or
years,
3.
2 or 3 years ago. And he is almost Maud's height now. He's still pretty short.
He's cute.
And then a year ago,
we got Cocoa Puff.
Cocoa Puff was born, who lost his Cocoa Puffs recently.
No.
He was castrated. And then 2 days ago, a new baby was born, and we're just going to call him Little Dude for now because we don't have a name.
Yay!
And I think we're just going to name him Little Dude, but he's going to lose his dudeness.
Wow.
What? How do you want me to say it? We're gonna get him castrated. It's
Little
not that
dude.
nice.
Little not dude.
Little
He's gonna
unduded.
lose his Cocoa Puff.
His name is gonna become Little Not Dude. And he and Coco are going to be butchered. Coco's gonna be butchered at the end of this year, I think.
Yeah.
What?
He's
End of
he's getting big enough, and it's not gonna be nice because he
get
still was
attached.
raised on this farm, but we need that meat to prep and to store meat in our freezers. Now, if the grid goes down,
We will be
we're gonna be
canning.
like canning like a lot of meat.
We do have a propane canner though, so we can do that.
Right.
We do?
Yes.
Cool.
So we will be able to can even if the grid goes down.
Well,
But we're gonna be crazy canning. It's gonna be like that time when Bunky went to get popsicles and left the freezer door open, and
That
we
was
had to get
disastrous.
all of the meat cooked and canned and
all of the meat. There was like 3 days of just straight cooking because
Yeah.
the freezer was gone and we didn't have spare freezers that had room.
all
We
of
ate
the
healthy
chocolate,
food.
all of the chocolate sandwiches
the chocolate
melted.
the
And
ice cream
instead of-
sandwiches.
Instead of letting us just spoon it out of the bag, Mom threw them out.
It was heartbreaking. We decided to get Dexter cows specifically, and for those of you who don't know what a Dexter cow is, it's like a cow but smaller.
It's a cartoon.
Mini cow.
So like normally calves are born and they're like the size of a mid-sized to large dog. When little dude was born the other day, he was,
About the
About
size
the
of
size
a
of a
Nigerian
goat.
dwarf goat, and those are small goats.
and those are small goats. So
we
the-
get
the
mini
small
everythings.
We get many everythings around here. It's just it's what we do.
Except for
It's
Mari.
because these two are so short.
Except for Mari. She's the tallest dog so far.
And
Facts
I
is
just
catching up.
Facts will catch up. course they go.
But we wanted to get these because we noticed that our neighbor has issues with his cows. When he butchers them, he has to find someone he can sell like half the cow to because
Right.
there's just so much meat on a cow. It's a
And
big animal.
we get like a quarter or a half a cow.
We get a half
for
a
him.
cow and
we
it
get half
lasts
a
us
cow
a
for
year.
him. Lasts us the whole year, and we're just thinking, who are we gonna give half a cow if we butcher our own cow?
Mr. Jerry.
If we get our own cow butchered, what are we gonna do with it?
Well, give
So
it
we
to
decided
him.
to get Dexter cattle because they are smaller versions of normal cows.
It's like a family-sized cow.
Right.
It's like a chicken as opposed to a turkey.
Right. Now, what is nice about our Dexters is they are, I was going to say barred. It's not barred.
They are polled.
Polled. They are polled,
Pork?
which means they don't have horns. And I think Mr. Jerry, our cow neighbor, or our neighbor who has cows, not a neighbor who is a cow. Cows can't talk.
Yes.
Our neighbor cow man.
Our neighbor cow.
Our neighbor rodeo dude.
No.
He told us that they probably have Angus in them, and that's why they're pulled and they don't have horns.
What's Angus?
It's a kind of cow.
It's a kind of cow that doesn't have horns.
They're also, I forgot where exactly they originate from, but they're from a colder climate, so they do really well in the winter.
Right.
So, like, we don't have to
Which is
worry
good.
as much about, are they warm?
Are they going to survive Mother Nature's mood swings?
Because they're very forgiving when it comes to temperament, or temperature. And as far as temperament goes, they're also not as aggressive.
Right.
We have had a few incidents in which we almost got headbutted, but that is because they had babies.
Not exactly. So the time that Maud headbutted me was because I got too close to Taurus when he was a little baby. But the time she broke
Back when he was adorable.
yeah. He's still kind of cute.
No.
He just moves like this. Moo!
Like, what is his problem?
Puberty. Cows have puberty. I'm set on this. They are pretty docile. You just have to be careful that you don't get between them and their babies.
And
Because like
something-
any mother, they have the maternal instinct that they want to protect their children.
And something interesting from this year is that the cows live in my yard, and they've lived in my yard for 3 years now. But I don't like them very much, and they don't like me very much.
It's a mutual thing.
I don't like the way
very
they act. They're I don't know.
And they don't like the way she sings in the barnyard. At
But
7 in the morning.
Trey,
Screaming.
who lives in the
I do not live in the bird area.
Well, Mr.
I spend most of my
Jerry's a
time in the
cow.
bird area.
Well, our neighbor is a cow.
Man, he's a cow man.
Cow.
So
You said
she works
cow.
in the bird area. But when little dude was born a couple days ago, Hestia was more okay with her being around the
Baby.
little dude than
Little dude.
me. And it's kind of interesting how, like, every time she's around them, she knows, like...
I know how to approach them. I think I'm
Right.
better at approaching animals. They seem more comfortable with me. All of the cows and the emus. They just seem
And
more
the
comfortable
ducks.
with me.
And the turkeys.
And the chickens. But the goats are so judgmental. They'll just give me that look like, why are you here? I don't like you. And then it was so funny. Bobby came over to get pets from KK. But KK was petting
I was
Feely and
petting
Keely,
Keely.
the other two goats. And
Yeah.
so she was out of hand, so I was just like, I'll pet you, honey. And she turned around and walked away.
She
Like,
doesn't like
so
her.
She
judgmental.
loves me.
Oh my goodness.
She will let KK and I pet her,
But not me.
but she won't.
But with the cows, the trick is you have to, I think you're just a little too prideful for them because you have to get down
You
and
have
bow
to bow
them.
like it's Harry Potter.
No,
We know.
it's just that they see when you're tall, they're intimidated by you, but when you're smaller, they're not.
So
you
that's
gotta
why
get
Taurus let me ride him a little.
Well, he doesn't like you anymore because you rode him.
Get
But
to
if
ride
you
him.
squat, then you won't be able to get away as fast if they get mad at you. So bowing down and just letting them come to you is the best way you can just make them friendly. And the cows seem to like me.
Yeah.
The cows like her.
Moo.
Woo!
I think as far as cows go, the boys are going to be butchered when it's their time. I believe Cocoa Puff is going this fall, and then I think
Little dude
Little
has
Dude
a
should
couple
go
of
the
years.
year after that, or the year after that.
Yeah, I think it's the year after that.
The year after
As
the
far
year
as
As far as the ladies go.
As far as the ladies go, we're preferring to
Hi, Dylan.
not butcher them because we want to milk them for cow milk. Because someone, I wonder who, does not like goat milk.
I don't know what
I
her
wanna
problem
milk
is.
them.
It's so
You can't. They don't like you.
Goat milk is just so much
gonna make them
thicker and
friendly.
And
creamier.
it's so good
And
tasting,
it
especially
tastes
in milk.
horrible.
That's one woman's opinion, not mine.
The yogurt tastes good.
That is one girl's opinion, and I just don't agree with it. That's
The
just how it
yogurt
is.
tastes
It's a bad
good.
opinion. I've elected to ignore it.
The yogurt and the cat food taste good. The milk doesn't.
With the cow milk, I have milked Maud once, and I got about, 2 inches in a small ball jar.
2 inches. That's
Of milk.
very.
But that was after Cocoa Puff was already weaning off. So I'm hoping that with Hestia, before Little Dude drinks all of her milk, I might be able to try and milk her a little. But we'll see, because as much as they are okay with me coming over by them, sometimes they get a little, they don't want me to touch this part. They don't want me to touch their foreheads. They don't want me to touch by their hind legs. So sometimes you just gotta wean them into it.
So, in summary, why did we get Dexter cattle? We got them because they are small and they are enough to feed our family without having to find other people to give meat to.
And they're the perfect pig replacement because to help fix our diet from what we had been eating. And though we're not getting bacon, we're getting other cuts that I've never heard of, like Chick-fil-A. No.
T-bone, ribeye,
Filet mignon.
filet mignon.
And Chick-fil-A.
And we have some fun cuts that we can play around with recipes with.
And they
ground
taste so good.
beef. Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A tastes awesome.
We got them because they have a good temperament and they are more docile compared to other cows. They're also easier to find when they're doing something they're not supposed to do. Like,
Right. If the pigs get into the vineyard, it'll take us a bit to find them, to notice if we're
it's even to notice that
inside.
they're gone.
If we're inside the house, we're not going to see a pig in the vineyard unless we're out there looking, is there a pig outside?
Where's the
Whereas
cows?
the cows, the dogs are losing it because none of our dogs like cows, not even the one who grew up in the barnyard.
And they also are less intimidating because they're smaller. They are good milkers. They're polled. We don't have to worry about them having horns. We're missing out on bacon.
I think turkey bacon is a thing, and we have turkeys. We can
We
make
have
turkey
turkey bacon.
We can. So we just found the Dexters are easier to take care of. They also they live with the goats, and nothing I do for the cows is what I don't do for the goats. They get sweet feed, they get hay, they go to pasture.
They get through the rotating pasture.
Right, it's more or less the same thing. They're also good milkers.
Right, they do great with milk, I think. We haven't really milked much of it, but we will be able to get some good milk if we keep working with that. Don't do that to the cow.
This is how I milk.
You're not going to be allowed to milk.
Nope.
We hope we can see you next time.
And our Monday live at 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
And our other vlogs, shorts, and cover songs. So we hope we can see you then. Please
Share this out.
Like, follow. I don't know completely how podcast things work, but thank you
Also,
so much
if you're
for
on
listening.
YouTube, just click the like button
And subscribe.
Yeah. So thank you so much for listening, and
See you later, alligator.
God bless.
Bye.